everyone, it's Caitlin James here from Scalp MicroPigmentation Australia, and today we are interviewing the beautiful Claudia from our Melbourne location. Say hi, Claudia.
Hey guys. Hi.
So Claudia, we're going to be chatting with you today about your experience and a little bit about scalp micropigmentation itself and where you feel that the industry is heading. You've been in the industry quite a while now, almost 4 years. So we'll be chatting about things that you've sort of learnt along the way. So let's start off with our first question. Where did you first hear about scalp micropigmentation?
Well, actually, this is a bit of a different answer than most people might give, but I actually first heard about SMP when I was applying for a job for it, and it was advertised as cosmetic tattooing, and somewhere within the blurb for the job advertisement it mentioned hair tattoo. So I did some Googling and I was looking at some photos and I was pretty amazed. Like, it's even, you know, it was 4 years ago now, but it was still pretty good back then. Certainly like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was so effective and I couldn't believe that it was actually a thing that people got, you know, this hair tattoo. And it actually worked out to look really realistic. And then, you know, I looked more into it and I started to learn about it a bit more through like the application process and doing some research, and I noticed that it just started popping up like in Facebook ads and, you know, even a couple of people on TV. I thought, oh, they had it done. And so I feel like I'd never noticed it before, and maybe that was because I wasn't looking for it. But once I got to know a bit more about it, that's when I started seeing it pop up a lot more.
Yeah, excellent. So when you had sort of gone through the process of training and learning these skills, how did you feel when you first treated your very first client?
I was terrified. It was full on. Obviously I'd trained up a lot before I even begun work on skin, you know, tattooing fruit, just practicing the pattern over and over. You know, I had that dot pattern imprinted in my mind before I even worked on an actual scalp. But it was still so daunting because it's a real person, you know, and it is something that is so visible and obvious because you're looking at a face every day, and you feel that sense of responsibility to get it right. And, you know, people put in so much trust with you to, like, for it to look real, and it is quite a big deal for them. So it was definitely hard, but it was just the first step into something that I was going to love. And although I did go, oh, is this something I can really do? I'll never look back now. It's just been the best thing.
Yeah, and you're naturally a very sort of artistic kind of person. You come from sort of an art background, you know, doing makeup, stage makeup. You're very creative. So did you feel like those sort of skills transferred across really well for you?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually, you know, when I went for the job, I thought, like, I'm not going to get this. Like, I don't have any experience in tattooing. I'd never done cosmetic tattooing before. So I was really, I underestimated how much my background would actually come into it, makeup and beauty. So knowing the skin through my beauty diploma, but also, you know, makeup artistry and even just art in general, how much that came into it. And you know, when you're picking a shade and sort of creating dimension through SMP as well, that's all relating back to knowing art. And it's been really valuable, actually. I feel like that's something that sort of fast tracked me or put me a bit ahead of others that are quite logical with their approach. Having that sort of art mind helps me to create that realistic look that's just you know, it's got those really fine details that a real hairline has. So definitely, yeah.
And that definitely shows in your work, 100%. So the company that you used to work for, back when you started, there really wasn't a lot of training available just for anybody. So you were really quite lucky to have a position in a business where they mentored you along the way. So how long was it before you started treating clients on your own, and how did that make you feel when you were kind of sort of out there on your own treating your clientele?
Yeah, so you're completely right. I was really lucky because not only was there not much available, but I think, you know, people go off and they pay for a course, or, you know, they have to travel overseas to get this mentoring. And I was really fortunate in that part of the job. I just got training ongoing, and it was really close contact. Like, my trainer, you know, shadowed me for weeks, and she was there in the room with me watching everything I did. So it was very thorough. And yeah, like I said before, it was lots of practicing, like on fruit first, and then eventually on live models. And even then, you know, being overlooked the whole time. It was, you know, being careful with pressure, or like being shown what shades work on what skin, what sort of shapes of hairlines work on different faces. It was just constant advice. And I just feel like I was so lucky to have that, because not many people get that. They do a course and then perhaps, you know, a bit of theory, and then they're sort of off on their own. But I had that support for months, really. Even when I transferred to doing clients on my own, I still had another technician in the room next door that I could, you know, call upon and say, oh, you know, what do you think? How do you think I should approach this? And so for a good year, I was still learning from other technicians, though I was working alone. So that was really great for when I did eventually properly work in Melbourne on my own. I already had so much knowledge to go by. Yeah,
super lucky. All right, so Melbourne tends to be fairly flooded with SMP artists at the moment, and we are finding that there are a lot more not so wonderful results coming through, and people asking for repair work. So for the clients that are looking into having scalp micropigmentation done, what would you recommend to those clients that are doing their research? What sorts of things do they need to look out for, and maybe what do they need to ask during consultations to make sure that they're finding the right artist for them?
Yeah, sure. Look, I would say do as much research as you can, whether that be reading forums. Lots of my clients say they're really beneficial because they're written by real people that have had treatment themselves, worked with a specific clinic, and, you know, can't recommend them enough. Get to know your practitioner, you know, like listening to these types of things, hearing them speak about their work, you'll sort of get a feel for what they know, how passionate they are about it as well. Also, I think something to look out for you know, you see some clinics that offer this treatment for a much lower price than the market standard. And, you know, there's always a reason for that. So, you know, it's different if they're offering a special or whatever, but if it's a constant thing and you do notice that it is a lot cheaper, you know, that might be because they're less experienced, or, you know, maybe they're just a beginner. So it's good to look out for those types of things, you know, get a sense of what everyone's sort of quoting, and make sure you're going and to meet the person and, you know, see the results they've done that they can show you and compare back to yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. We do find that we get quite a few people that will just send through some photos through either the website inquiry and asking for ballpark figures of price, which is a great start. But for those people that are doing those sorts of inquiries, I really, it's so important to pick up the phone and at least have a chat over the phone, especially during this time of COVID, where we're actually social distancing. It's a really good idea to pick up the phone, at least have a chat with the artist, because you can tell a lot from, you know, how they speak over the phone, you know, just about all those things that you mentioned. And then when the time is right, return to, you know, face-to-face consultations and go in and meet a number of people if you're doing, you know, really thorough research, and meet a couple of artists, and you'll get a feel for who's right for you.
Yeah, totally.
So tell us a little bit about your scalp micropigmentation. What is your absolute favourite type of hairline that you just get so excited about creating when someone sits in front of you and you're like, oh, I really want to do that hairline? What kind of hairline is your favourite treatment to do?
I have so many favourites. I'd have to say, like, anything that's got a bit of character, you know, whether that be a little scar in the hairline that's already there and we can just sort of go around it and enhance it a little bit. It's just that little point of difference to someone else's hairline. I did a female hairline within the last 6 months, and that was a challenge in itself because it's so different to a male hairline. And that was quite fun, actually, because I had to do a lot of research, you know, looking at shaved heads that were female, and, you know, the edging is so different, even the shape, the way it comes in on the face. So that's always fun when you get someone walk through the door and it's something new again, and it sort of challenges you to think outside of the box. And that's just my favorite in general. It's just something different because, you know, it means that achieving that look of realism is just that little bit harder, and you get the best results that way, actually, when you're sort of thinking outside. Yeah,
brilliant. And just tell us a little bit about your location. So whereabouts in Melbourne can our clients find you?
Yeah, so just in Melbourne, in Bruswick, just along Sydney Road. It's a really busy road full of cafes, lots to do around there, fairly close to the airport as well, really quick tram ride into the city. So I chose it not only because I love the north of Melbourne, but it is quite close to everything. It's quite central. So I find that I've had no problems from people coming from all different suburbs. They all know where Bruswick is, and they all love it. Yeah.
Lovely. So if a client is going to come along for a consultation, what sorts of things do you like to go through, or what do they need to do to prepare to get the best type of consultation from you? How can they help you?
Look, I would just say come in with lots of questions, like just bombard me with questions. Like, I love it. You know, if I get a question that I haven't been asked before, I'm like, cool. It's it's a little bit of a challenge, but I know so much now. I'm confident in answering anything. You know, especially with ink shades and how I approach, you know, the layering process with the treatment and making it look all real. That's always quite fun to explain. It's always good as well, like if you have a vision of what you want, to sort of bring in maybe old photos of your hairline or that you like, that you've seen online, because we can create something similar, or maybe I have some advice to change it up a bit. But it's so we can have a chat and sort of collaborate there and give you an idea of what you can achieve.
Yeah, because it really is a joint effort between, you know, the client and yourself, because, you know, this is a very personal decision for the clients. So anything that they can do to visually sort of show you what it is that they're looking for. But the other benefit is this is not just a one treatment procedure. You know, we do these treatments over multiple sessions, and along the way we do ask for lots of feedback from our clients to make sure that we're creating what it is that they're feeling feels like them. And I think that's where we do sort of excel with our results, because it is over multiple sessions. We do get that chance to get the feedback, and sometimes people don't know exactly what they want. I know that in my consultation, sometimes the guys are like, oh, well, you're the expert, I'll listen to what you have to say, and we go from there, and that's perfectly fine, because some people don't know exactly what they want until they start seeing it being created on themselves. So given all the feedback that you've had over the years from your clients and the transformations that you've done, what would you say to someone that is considering this procedure, knowing how wonderful so many of the results are and how it makes our clients feel? Like, what would you say to anyone that's considering this treatment?
Look, I would say, you know, you've done all your research, you've been sitting on the fence for a while. Perhaps look into a couple more things to instill confidence a bit more, such as, you know, maybe meeting someone that's had the treatment done, or asking, we've been offering hairline mock-ups, like simulations, more recently, because we can't actually meet people in person, and that gives you an idea of the type of hairline you could have and how the SMP would look on you. So if you've done all of those things, I would say just take the plunge. Like I just hear it so often from my clients that, you know, they were sitting on this for months, sometimes even years, and they just put it off for so long, and then once they do it, they're like, oh, why didn't I do this ages ago? So I feel like they almost feel as though they've wasted a lot of their life hiding away, and to have a treatment that really, if you break it down, it's not that big of a deal. Like it's just to really frame your face. You know, these days it is reversible if you did want it to be. Like it's not a huge commitment for feeling a lot better about yourself, and I just feel like it's worth it. Yeah, so I would just encourage them to do something for themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Claudia. So if anyone is looking into scalp micropigmentation based in Melbourne, you now know a little bit more about Claudia, and that she's in the Bruswick location. So if you are interested at all, you can go over to our website, which is www.smpaus.com.au, and submit an inquiry to her. Have a look at her Instagram as well. All the links are on the website. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel as well, so that you stay up to date and see all of our wonderful videos that we create and our testimonials. And thanks again for listening and watching, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks, Claudia.
Thanks.